CTV News with Ricardo Veneza.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Ricardo is off tonight. The police service and its board facing a $3.8 million human rights complaint. A constable claims an on-duty injury has been downplayed and her treatment altered because of a personal relationship with a superior officer. CTV's Michelle Molesky reports.
Carrie Zacher has been a police officer since December 2016. Now 46 years old, Zacher has filed a $3.8 million complaint against the Windsor Police Service and its board. Zacher says she was seriously injured in August 2021 when she attempted to arrest a violent person. According to her filing with the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario, Zacher has been pressured by the service to return to work, even when she was on heavy narcotics to deal with her injuries. Zacher even alleges HR refused to cancel a return-to-work meeting on this day when she was in the ICU for a 7th surgery to fix a leak in her spinal fluid. Zacher believes her personal history influenced how she was treated. According to the HRTO document, Zacher was in, quote, an abusive relationship with a senior police officer. When she tried to end their relationship, Zacher says he spread rumors about her within HQ, sent dozens of texts or emails, tried to break into her home, and threatened to post intimate photographs. CTV News has confirmed Gregory Chamello pleaded guilty to criminal harassment in July 2022 and was sentenced to a year's probation. Zacher's sexual harassment and her requests for help caused the Windsor Police Service and Windsor Police Service Board to treat Zacher differently, as they believe she was, quote, disloyal for reporting her abuser. Zacher's lawyer wrote in the HRTO filing. In addition to damages, Zacher is seeking compensation for lost wages after the department stopped paying her on 2 occasions. She also wants compensation for repayment of loans she had to incur while off hurt, and Zacher wants a public apology. Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
2 Windsor officers have been cleared after a deadly police shooting last fall. Those officers, including the Ontario Special Investigations Unit, released its findings on Monday, clearing the officers involved in the death of 38-year-old Jason West. Police were called to the Food Basics on Goyo Street last September for reports of a man armed with knives behaving erratically. Investigators say West threatened staff inside, then moved towards a nearby beer store where officers confronted him. After repeated orders to drop the weapons and several failed taser attempts, shots were fired. The SIU says toxology tests found methamphetamine and THC in his system, and while West was not himself that day, officers acted to protect public safety. In other news, municipalities across Essex County continue to weigh a new tax on overnight stays. LaSalle is the latest municipality to show interest in adding a mat tax. Joining us now with more on this is CTV's Robert Lothian. Robert, what do we know?
Yeah, Stephanie, so this is a municipal accommodation tax. It's added onto the bills of visitors at hotels as well as overnight stays, and the money will be generated and paid out to the town as well as to Tourism Windsor Essex Pelee Island.
The reason it's a right decision is because it's a revenue source for a municipality. So anytime you can add to your revenue source and it's not on the tax, homeowners to pay that tax, it makes most sense.
LaSalle voted unanimously to take the next steps towards introducing this added levy. TWEPI is asking all county municipalities to consider a MAT, with most suggesting it starts at about 4%. According to a staff report, LaSalle has about 103 accommodation listings across the town. If these are in use just half the time, this could generate about $70,000 annually through the MAT tax. Without a hotel or short-term rental regulations, Mayor Crystal Melange says council must be proactive.
We hear talks that there may be hotels coming to our region and to the town of LaSalle, so it would just make sense for us to have this in place. And one of the other reports we're currently working on is short-term rentals and a licensing program for them. And so once that licensing program is put in place, then we can be able to collect those funds on short-term rentals as well.
And just further up the 401, this same conversation over the MAT tax was on the table in Leamington, where council is taking a similar approach.
When I go to Seacliff Park every Sunday, and I see that park jammed full of people that aren't from our town, and yet our town has paid for that park and has paid for all those amenities, and we have no way of getting that money back. That's why I'm pro-mat tax.
Leamington's decision comes despite concern from short-term rental operators. This includes concerns over deterring visitors and not keeping the dollars in Leamington. Figures from TWEPI estimate Leamington could generate an added $610,000 in revenue. Funds generated from the tax are required to go back into tourism and infrastructure. Now, so far, only Kingsville has voted against implementing the tourism levy. This is still very preliminary, so the mat tax will still need many approvals from councils across the county before it can become a reality. Stefanie.
Okay, Robert, thank you for this update. Local small businesses and entrepreneur hopefuls in Windsor, Essex just got a boost from the Ontario government today. The Associate Minister of Small Business, Windsor's mayor and other officials were on hand at Timber and Plum on Wyandotte for a special occasion. The minister announced a $2 million investment in Futurepreneur Canada, which will help more young people develop and launch businesses, and in doing so, strengthen Ontario's economy, create jobs, and help to combat the impact of U.S. tariffs. The funding will support 320 young entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 to 39. This effort is part of Ontario government's plan to protect the province's job sector, workers, and build a stronger, more self-reliant economy.
And in hard-hit areas like Windsor, of course, it's even more important because often they find it very difficult. A lot of people don't want to invest in those businesses because the uncertainty that they're facing right now. So I think programs like this, especially at a time like now, is so important.
An update to a story we brought you yesterday. The municipality of Chatham-Kent says it's working with the displaced residents of 99 McNaughton Avenue West. More than 1 year after a devastating fire. The municipality also says residents living in the lower level of Block B started moving back in today. It was on August 25th last year that a fire tore through the municipally owned social housing apartment complex. Officials say the goal is to have everyone on the upper level back by November 1st. Meantime, officials say anyone with concerns over missing personal items or issues with strangers being inside the complex should contact their insurance provider or the municipality. Now we're into the last week of August now, and the final week for tunnel bus service. City Hall has made the call to scrap the service this spring, helped along by strong Mayor Powers. But is it really the end of cross-border bus service? Well, CTV's Chris Campbell checks it out.
ABC Coach, a Toronto-based company, told CTV News it plans to start a private service across the tunnel the first week of September. Officials say fares will stay the same at $10 each way. The schedule is still being finalized, but the goal is to mirror the old timetable.
We were all aware of the fact that private companies are going to sprout up and handle bringing people back and forth. I believe this is just one of those, and we're hoping that in the next few days they can communicate to all the relevant parties to provide the service for Windsor Essex.
But the company has not said where its buses will run from or where people can buy tickets. They also haven't agreed to an on-camera interview. The Windsor-Detroit Tunnel Corporation says they too are waiting for word from DW Tunnel Bus Service officials.
I've reached out to them because I think it's important that they have some communication with me. This is, there's a couple of steps in order to cross the border from a security and a payment perspective. But I have yet to hear from them.
Transit riders CTV News spoke with had plenty to say.
I think that they should have just kept the old one going. It's been here since I was little. It's probably been here before that.
If it gives Windsor some employment, that would be great.
Privately owned company will do their work more efficiently.
I do think it'd be better in the public hands, just generally because there might be more of a motivation to run it faster.
I think our members are skeptical of this service. Who is running it? Certainly, really interesting that it came out just after the decision was made at council, like relatively speaking.
In the meantime, local advocates are hosting a send-off. Activate Transit Windsor Essex and Detroit's Transportation Riders United are holding a farewell event August 30th at Rock Bottom Bar and Grill, one night before the last city-run tunnel bus.
It's important to commemorate that. Certainly in December, when the full service ends, we will be doing something that's a little bit more on the advocacy, more on the activism side of things.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
The University of Windsor says a new partnership is focused on improving access to health care. The U is teaming up with Green Shield to expand mental health support and primary care access across the region. The collaboration will develop training tools for workplaces, launch a new model for equity-seeking groups without consistent doctors, and open research opportunities for students and faculty. Windsor Hall on Ferry Street is also being renamed Green Shield Hall as part of this deal. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald has your full weather details coming up in 2 minutes' time. And it's a love story still ahead. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in their engagement era. Gary Archibald joining me now for an extended look at the weather. And Gary, starting tomorrow, quite cool.
Quite cool before dawn, technically, yes, Wednesday morning. You're right about that, Stefanie. Good evening, folks. Once again, we're talking about the potential of temperatures getting as low as 7 degrees, so single digits now being introduced. This morning, 9.8 degrees Celsius around 5 a.m. We could see 7, maybe 8 degrees Celsius between Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Kent. Today was below seasonal, both in terms of the high for today, the dailies, maximums and minimums by several degrees, in fact. There's a good indication we will get into some rains over the next 24 to 72 hours, so that's the next 3 days, in part due to an area of low pressure that's spinning over Hudson Bay, James Bay territory, so northern parts of Ontario, and the westerlies and northwesterlies that are tied to this system have been ushering in repeated streams of showers right across the lower Great Lakes. The heaviest bands are likely headed our way Thursday afternoon, in fact, and then again into Friday morning. So for Wednesday, tomorrow, I anticipate these initial waves to be very scattered, very light across Michigan State and then into southern Ontario with this northwesterly, westerly movement, if you will, and then picking up as we move into Thursday afternoon, say around 3, 4, 5 p.m. So for now, anticipate showers, light tomorrow, and then heavier Thursday in the afternoon through the evening and again Friday morning. The overnight projected, as mentioned, 7 degrees in Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Kent, and surrounds. Some areas will be slightly warmer, closer to 8, but 7 could be the bottom figure, if you will, the low of lows tomorrow morning. Cool and clear tonight. You'll need the extra layers and perhaps hanging on to those extra layers throughout the morning and midday. We'll see 10 degrees at 8 a.m. Sunny, westerlies sustained at around 10K. So light wind increases and then changes direction out of the northwest, now sustained at 20 with gusts in the 40s. And that will be the story for the afternoon. We'll see a high of 23. Our average high by tomorrow will be technically about 24.9 in Essex, for example. So we're getting cooler. Thursday, 24, and there's your rain as mentioned, more rain Friday morning, 22, 24, 24, and 24 for the long weekend. A mixture of sun and cloud. Fair weather for that nice little holiday. Before school starts, Tuesday looks a bit warmer and still sunny for most of the kids headed back to classes. Let's look at your weather.
Canada's decision to lift most retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods is bringing relief to shoppers who could soon start seeing prices drop, particularly at the grocery store. CTV's Dave Charbonneau reports from Ottawa.
Did you find everything you were looking for? Yeah.
At Cedars & Co. Food Market on Bank Street, they've had to shift away from offering American produce and goods.
We have had to transition because of the tariffs.
Back in March, the Carney government imposed counter tariffs on a long list of American goods, including coffee and tea, orange juice, tires, shoes, and electronics.
When the tariffs came in, we saw a huge rise on dry goods as well as product lines in the produce area. So from anything that came in from the United States, oranges went up significantly up in price. So we transitioned. South Africa, Argentina, Ecuador, Portugal, Morocco.
I like to know where my products come from.
With Canada set to lift tariffs September 1st, businesses and shoppers are counting on lower prices.
I would say 90% of our clients have boycotted U.S. goods, and they are relying solely on Canadian goods.
You support local businesses, Canadian businesses, and try to avoid unnecessary tariffs where they apply.
I want to support the local producers. The people who are doing all the work, I want to support them on the Canadian side.
At Capital Furniture and Mattress, owner Nadia Gadban says tariffs have hurt sales.
They've slowed down business for sure.
But come September 1st, Gadban plans to cut prices.
We are going to drop our prices back down by 15% so that we're back to the norm that we were because customers have noticed the sudden increase. So this is our Canadian brand.
But when it comes to mattresses, customers here also buying Canadian.
Our business has gone up 25% since the tariffs were implemented because people have stopped buying the American brand.
The price of coffee beans went up considerably the minute the tariffs hit.
Back at Cedars & Co., Dibs says she might consider U.S. goods again, but only as a last resort.
So if the produce significantly comes down in price and we need to adjust and we cannot find it in other countries, diverse countries, we will definitely have to fall back on the U.S.
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index finished nearly 170 points higher today, while U.S. markets also gained ground. The Dow was up 135 points. The Nasdaq climbed 95. The Canadian dollar down slightly, just 0.00 cent U.S. On commodity markets, gold climbed about $15 an ounce. Oil is down $1.55 a barrel. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. A husband is calling for justice, accusing an Ontario hospital of negligence after his wife died from sepsis after giving birth to the third child. CTV's Adrian Gobriel spoke to the husband, who maintains his wife should have survived.
On June 19th, 40-year-old Ravinder Sidhu arrived here at Mississauga, Ontario's Credit Valley Hospital for the successful delivery of a healthy baby boy. Though just 4 days later, the mother of 3 was sadly dead. The initial cause of death, a Group A strep infection. Roughly 6 hours after the delivery of her newborn baby, Sidhu said she felt like she had hypothermia. Freezing cold, she was at times struggling to speak. Her temperature spiked, as did her white blood cell count and heart rate, and she was withering in pain. For 2 days, her condition deteriorated. Pleading for painkillers, her family said she was only given Advil and Tylenol. It wasn't until an infection appeared visible on her leg that she was taken to the ICU and administered an antibiotic. By then, her husband says it was too late.
By that point, she was already being eaten alive by the bacteria, and she was already suffering the worst pain. We begged for help, which never arrived. Now I learned that sepsis is a race against time, but doctors never started the clock. Had they listened to us, my wife would be still alive and she would be with her family. I really hope that no other family has to go through this.
Sidhu's family have filed a complaint with Ontario's Patients Ombudsman and with the hospital. In 2023, there were 4,600 cases of invasive Group A strep uncovered in Canada, a 40% increase from 2019.
When you see, those red flags, you have to intervene, right? And a lot of professionals are actually trained in the critical care and the ICU units, to deal with this, with these types of symptoms.
We asked the hospital if they're launching an official review into the specific standard of care given to Ravinder Sidhu. In an email, Credit Valley would only say that a review is part of their standard practice led by clinical experts. Adrian Gobro, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
For the second day, massive nationwide protests took place across Israel, with families of the hostages calling for the release of their loved ones and an end to the war in Gaza. This comes as international pressure continues to mount on both sides to reach a ceasefire deal as the humanitarian crisis in the enclave worsens. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
On a highway outside of Tel Aviv, protesters burned tires, blocked traffic, and demanded an end to the war in Gaza.
Accept the deal that's on the table to end the bloodshed that's going on.
These protests are the largest anti-war demonstrations to take place in Israel since the Hamas-led attacks of October 7th, which triggered the war in Gaza. They come as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces mounting pressure, both at home and abroad, over the deteriorating situation in the enclave. On Monday, Israel struck one of the only functioning hospitals in southern Gaza, then hit the facility a second time as journalists and rescue workers rushed to the scene. At least 20 people were killed, including 5 journalists. Israel says the strike was targeting a Hamas camera and will investigate what happened.
And I've worked in that hospital.
Nicole Lassard spent May, June, and July working in Gaza as a nurse with Médecins Sans Frontières. She says the suffering is constant. There's not enough food or medicine, and since Israel handed over aid distribution to the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, getting aid can be deadly.
When the sites made an announcement they were going to open for food distribution, we would shortly receive mass casualties to the hospital. They keep the doors closed and then open them. People rush in. The food is dropped in the center, and it's basically like a fight to the death.
As Israel pushes ahead with its military offensive in Gaza City, there are not only fears in Gaza but in Israel as well, with approximately 20 living hostages still being held in the enclave.
The Prime Minister has really gone rogue now. He's going against his chief of staff. He's going against the hostage families. He's going entirely against the international community.
Today, the United Nations demanded that Israel's investigation into the killing of journalists at Nasser Hospital comes with accountability, noting that over 270 journalists have been killed in Gaza since the war began. Heather Wright, CTV News.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Gary joining us one last time for a recap of the weather.
Stefanie, the takeaway is a cool early morning for Wednesday. Clear to start. Some sunshine for the morning. We'll see some cloudiness towards, I'd say, about 7, 8 a.m. So the morning, technically, midnight and beyond, right? So that's clear through to about 6. And by the way, we'll get down to about 7 or 8 degrees Celsius. By 7, 8, 9, increase in cloudiness. It will be windier towards the afternoon, potentially. But these showers, if we see it at all, will be very scattered. In fact, I think we'll see mostly sunny conditions. Heavier rains, though, Thursday afternoon. More rain Friday morning. And temperatures and fair weather, the story for the long weekend. Temperatures hovering around 23 to 24 degrees. Will warm up first day of school a week from now. Mostly sunny and 26. Wherever you are, enjoy a good night's rest. Your weather, as always, wherever you are. Good night.
And we leave you tonight with all the excitement that whipped up in the entertainment world today. One of the planet's biggest music stars is engaged. Taylor Swift announcing online she and football star boyfriend Travis Kelce are getting married.
Travis Kelce proposed and Taylor Swift said yes. And fans in Toronto couldn't be happier.
Yes! Oh, they're engaged. They're engaged. Wait, actually? Oh my gosh.
Have a good life with her husband.
Some good advice. What advice would you give him with her?
Be nice.
One of the world's most famous couples announced their engagement on Instagram with the caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." The ring, an old mine brilliant cut diamond from Kindred Lubeck. As for the dress she wore, by Ralph Lauren, already sold out. It was a 3-time Super Bowl winner, Travis Kelce, who pursued Swift more than 2 years ago.
So I was a little butthurt I didn't get to hand her one of the bracelets I made for her, one with my number on it.
Eventually they met, Swift admitting she didn't know much about football.
I didn't know what a first down was.
I am forever thankful for you diving into the football world.
And she certainly did, creating a stir just entering the football stadium and NFL cameras constantly covering her every move in the Kelce family private box.
The latest status is I got to see her last week. That's the latest status right there.
And the second question, are you in love?
I'm going to keep my personal relationship personal.
She attended his games and he followed her on the Eras Tour, attending 14 concerts, even making an appearance in one of her London shows.
What I saw on that tour last year was pretty remarkable. It was something I could admire watching and take a lot of notes from.
Even President Donald Trump, when asked, had something to say on the news of the engagement.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person, so I wish them a lot of luck.
He hasn't always been so gracious about the pop star, posting, "I hate Taylor Swift," after she endorsed Kamala Harris for president. As for when the wedding will be, we need to calm down. In a previous New Heights podcast, Kelce had said that all of his friends get married in the summer, and he would not want to get married during the football season. So we'll have to wait and see. Andrea Case, CTV News.
Congratulations to the couple. That's your news for tonight. Thank you for joining us. See you right back here tomorrow night.